Good evening, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams. We begin tonight in Brentwood, where the ATF agents and the LAPD swarmed a home on Rockingham. The investigation tied to a fire truck, apparently from the 80s. NBC4's Robert Kovacik live in Brentwood with more for us. Robert?
Colleen, we have been trying to piece this all together for you ever since the neighbors here in Brentwood have been talking to us and chattering with us about being woken up to ATF agents and the LAPD and helicopters overhead as they came to the property here behind me at Rockingham and Sunset. Now, we do have some new information for you that we are just piecing together thanks to our NBC4 News team. And we can tell you that the man who was taken into custody by the LAPD and by ATF agents today without incident is now facing a couple of dozen charges. And Colleen, as you look at some video from the home here, those charges date back all the way to 2023 and as recently as May of this year. Those charges also include impersonating a firefighter on January 16th. January 16th, in the middle of the Palisades firefight. The LAFD confirms to NBC4 News tonight that there was an incident when a fire truck that was not a legitimate fire truck, if you will, Colleen, tried to enter through the Palisades. Remember, it was all blocked off unless you were a first responder or a member of the media during the firefight. And during the Palisades fire, someone did try to bring in a fire truck and someone did try to impersonate a firefighter. And that perhaps happened around the same time as this arrest took place. Neighbors here confirmed that that fire truck had been in this residence for some time. Neighbors also tell us that they were familiar with the person who owns the house, but not really very close to the person. We have also, Colleen, learned that the person that is in custody, that is being held without bail right now and remains in custody, has a number of priors. Those priors include being previously convicted of impersonating a public officer. Colleen, that was more than 20 years ago in 2003, and was sentenced to 180 days in jail and 3 years probation. So he is looking at right now a number of charges from what we're looking at, and we're reading through those charges as we speak. Couple of dozen charges, and they include impersonating a firefighter, a fire truck that was here behind me, also taken into evidence. And I just want to talk about where we are, Colleen. We are right here in Brentwood, but literally just a few blocks down the road is where the Palisades fire began on Sunset Boulevard, and those burned-out homes still remain there. A neighbor who lives right next door, told me there's only so much more he wants to take because he was evacuated from the Palisades fire and now has learned perhaps he was living next to someone who was allegedly impersonating a firefighter during the Palisades firefight. So, Colleen, before we let you go, I also do want to bring up the fact that we talk about that we are at Rockingham and Sunset. You say Rockingham, I know it immediately triggers O.J. Simpson. We are in Rockingham, south of Sunset, the former address of O.J. Simpson. Not going to say the former home because it has been completely torn down. The former address of O.J. Simpson is on Rockingham, well, north of Sunset. We're going to have much more for you tonight on the NBC4 News at 11. For now, we're live here in Brentwood. I'm Robert Kovacik. Colleen.
Robert, before you go, do we know if they've been investigating this since the fires in January, or was there some sort of tip that led to this?
You know, Colleen, it sure seems like it. And it sure seems like perhaps was the fires in January the one that sort of broke the straw that broke the camel's back there, that this was finally enough. But again, from what our news team back in Universal City is uncovering right now, reading through the charges that this man is facing, they date all the way back to 2023 and just to a few months ago. So there are a number of charges, but again, they finally had what they needed to come in here and to quickly make an arrest, to take that fire truck and that alleged fire impersonator in custody. And then you wonder, and this was the question asked to me by a member of the LAFD tonight, why? Why would they do this? Why would they impersonate a law enforcement member, a member of a firefighting team, especially when you consider that the person right now under investigation had what we understand a highly paid job and lives in a very expensive neighborhood?